This video is 10 key commands and shortcuts that I use frequently within my videos just to speed up workflow. Thought I'd pass them on and hopefully they can allow you to learn something and help your workflow within your projects. Number one is Alt and drag. Now this is a quick way of copying and pasting either regions, notes, pretty much anything that you need to drag somewhere else and copy and paste. Now if, for example, I wanted to copy this whole section, excluding the loop, instead of going Command C, copy, paste, and take all that time, I can literally drag it to where I want to go. If I hold the Alt key, you can see a plus comes up on the hand, let go, and it'll copy and paste that part. Now, then parts or multiple parts. Now, if I go into piano roll, I can also copy parts in here. If I wanted those to be played up an octave, we can take them up. Again, if I hold the Alt key whilst I'm doing this, you'll see a plus come on the hand and it will copy those parts up. Now that I use all the time, very quick, very handy. Number one. Number two is the escape key. Now, if you look in the top right hand corner of most of your windows, piano roll, etc., you've got these two little boxes. Now these are your left click and right click options. If you click on the menu, you can see all the different options you can choose from. Now if I clicked pencil tool, for example, brings up the pencil tool. I can then draw in pencils, come back up, pointer tool, do what I want. Now that can be a bit tedious, a bit tiresome sometimes, always going up there, clicking, blah blah blah. Now if you hit the escape key on your keyboard, it pops up your left click key options, but also there are some numbers and letters down the right hand side. Once you start using this a lot more, you'll start realizing and remembering them, so you can fly through this quite quickly. If I wanted, for example, to split some tracks up, some parts, I can click escape and I can see that scissors there is number 5. If I hit number 5 on the keyboard, my scissors tool comes up, I can start cutting up. Now if I hit escape and number 6, I can see the glue tool is number 6. I can glue them back together with my glue tool. So again, if you hit escape, number 1, I can bring pointer tool back in. It's very quick to fly around your project and be doing this. For example, piano roll can come in, escape, number 2, can start putting in some, drawing in some parts. Hit escape, number 1, I'm back in the pointer, back in my cursor and my point of view. So that's number 2, the escape key. Number 3 is my triangular brackets. Now on my keyboard, it is the comma and full stop key as well, but you are looking for the triangular brackets. Now these are nudging through bars. So if I click the right bracket, it will nudge right through every bar, and then left also. Now this is quite handy. I use it again quite a lot. It's just very easy. Snaps at the beginning of the bar, so you know it's bang there. Like if I clicked, it might, wherever I click, it might not click exactly on the bar. You can see there when you hit play. Now if I make sure I skip, it just goes bang on the bar. It's perfect. It's an easy way to just nudge back a couple of bars. Use it all the time. Number 3, the triangular brackets. Number 4 is automation. Now this gets used everywhere. So automation's a very important part in pretty much most dance music. So it is a very valuable shortcut. Most people will know it, but just in case you don't, it is the letter A. It's pretty straightforward. If you hit the letter A on the keyboard, all the automation will show up for each channel. Now obviously where it says volume, you can click and go through the automation on each parameter you want. Now I'm not going to go through automation, but that's how you get it up, the letter A. So that's number 4, automation. Number 5 is the mixer. Now again, it's very handy in Logic that it's down here as a tab. You can click on it and it comes up, but it's quite handy to just hit the letter X. So X on the keyboard will fire up the mixer. Now it's very handy to be able to just pop the mixer up and down, do some quick tweaks. And so that, again, that key command I use all the time. Pop up the mixer with the letter X and close it again. Number 6. Now this is bounce in place, and I do use this fairly often when I've created a part, because sometimes it's nice to have it as an audio part rather than 3 or 4 MIDI channels once I know I'm happy with my section. So especially when I'm coming towards the end of the track and I'm ready to mix it down, I tend to like to put them in audio. Now what I can do, for example, this is not correct, but for example, pretend these are all the same sort of instrument. If they were all kick drums, for example, what I could do, select the parts I want. We could select the whole section, or if you're happy with if it's just a loop, then you might want to just select a 4 8-bar loop, whatever. We're just going to select a 4-bar loop just to keep it quick. Now if I select that, now if we want to bounce that all out as one loop, you're going to be using Ctrl and B. Now what that is it's called bounce regions in place. Now we'll go through that and I'll show you what that is if you don't know. Ctrl and B, this will pop up some options that you can do. The original free channels, you can have them muted or leave or delete them. You create to a new track, it'll call it whatever you wanted to call it at the top. Yeah, there's loads of options. You can go through all this. So once you hit OK, you'll see it just quickly do a quick bounce. It'll bounce it in as an audio channel. Just give it a second. As an audio channel, it's muted the parts that I've used to bounce it in, and now I have that section as an audio file. Now I can do whatever I want with it. Sometimes it's a lot easier to manipulate like that. So I use that a lot when I'm coming towards the back end of a project. It's very good. It keeps the MIDI parts there in case you need to go back as well, and it's very handy. So that's number 6, bounce regions in place, and that is Ctrl and B. Number 7 is turning your loops into parts. Now if you're like me, I tend to, when I first make a track, I'll just create a quick 4-bar drum loop and just let it loop, and maybe play some chords and melody over the top to get a feel for it. And I could end up with a nice loop like this. And when it gets to it, maybe at every end of every 4th bar or every 16th bar, I might want to add some fills or anything like that. Change it up at the end of each little section, and you can't, because it's just a loop. You can't edit these, and then you end up forever copying and pasting each part. There is a quick way to get out of that, and that is Ctrl and L. So if you hit Ctrl and L on so select the loop you want, Ctrl and L, it will turn that whole section into individual parts. Now I can go in here, maybe add a little fill at the end. That is massive, especially at the start of a track for me when I'm just getting down ideas. I'll just loop parts so I can just hear what they're like when they're continuing. Then if I want then to just Ctrl and L and then be able to fire into like a bar further down the line that's a loop and just edit some bits to give some variation, that's straight in there, very quick. So that's number 7, Ctrl and L. It turns your loops into parts. Now number 8 is mainly for audio. If we come in just so you can see the audio. Now this is to just quickly pop open the Flex View. Now if you don't know what Flex View is, we're not going to go into it on here. You can play around yourself or look at other tutorials. But to get into Flex View, you can normally come up to View and come in here somewhere. But just the quick shortcut is Command and F. If you hit Command and F, the Flex View comes up. You can choose what you want and start editing. So that's my number 8. I use it a lot in audio if I need to. It is Command and F for the Flex View. Now for number 9, it is sort of a variation to Flex View. It's sort of time stretching, audio, etc. Now if I brought a loop in, and say for example I'm working at 80 BPM and it's an 82 BPM loop, or it's a loop but it doesn't quite fit, you can time stretch that region. So for example, if this is a bad example, but if I wanted this to last 2 bars, not 4, if I come to the bottom right hand corner, you can see the little icon there that's telling me to stretch it. Now if I hold the Alt key, so this is all it is, you hold the Alt key when you go to the bottom right hand corner of an audio part, you see 2 little waveforms coming at either end. Now if I click and drag, it is literally time stretching it to whatever length I want it. If I let go, it'll just quickly time stretch it. Bang, that's twice as fast now. So it's very good for slightly out of time loops that don't quite fill your region. You can just time stretch them to how you want very, very quickly. Just hold the Alt key at the bottom right hand corner and it turns that icon into that icon, then just drag it to where you want it to end or start if you wanted to go to the beginning. That's number 9. So time stretching within the arrange. So number 10, we're just going to go through the transport bars and a couple of essentials, shall we say. Now the main one, again, spacebar will play and stop. If you hit the enter key, it will jump to the beginning of your cycle, or if you haven't got a cycle on, it will jump back to the beginning of the track. So enter to jump back, space to play. If you've got a track record armed, if you hit the letter R, it will record. If you select a region and hit the letter M, that will mute them parts. Hit M again and it will unmute them. Also, if you hit the letter S, that will solo them, and then again S to turn that off. Down here we have the cycle, which is this green bar at the top, which is your loop function. If you hit the letter C, that will turn that on and on. Also, we've got our metronome / click here. If you hit the letter K, that will turn that on and on. So they're just a couple of transport options that you will need. So space for start, play and pause or stop. Enter to jump back to the beginning. R for record. C for the cycle on and off. K for the click metronome. M to mute. S to solo. Also going to have an honorary key command, which should be essential to everyone. I use it every 2 minutes, and that is Command and S. That is to save your project. Make sure you do that every 2 minutes because computers are not reliable. So that was 10 key commands / shortcuts that I use a lot in my tracks. It quickens and speeds up my workflow. Hopefully it will speed yours up now, and hopefully you've learned something today. Thank you very much.